Hello, Bronwyn Lund from BronHolm Tours here. I'm in the town of Allinge, which is on the north-east side of the island, and I'm actually standing outside the chapel, and we're going to take a walk from the chapel down the hill with a fantastic view of the Baltic Sea, down to the harbour, and just walk along the harbour for a few minutes. So I really hope you enjoy the tour. This is Ehlinger Chapel, and it's the chapel that is a part of the graveyard, and the graveyard is actually up on the top of this hill and has a wonderful view out over the Baltic Sea. The chapel's locked today, so I can't go in and film that, but the reason why the graveyard is up here and not down where the church is in the middle of town is obviously because there wasn't really enough room to create a graveyard in the middle of town. So the graveyard is up here on the top of the hill. And what we're going to do is we're just going to walk out of the graveyard and wander down into town, have a look at the church in town, and then just wander through a few of the streets and through the main city square, or town square, down to the harbour. Ehlinger, like many other towns on Bornholm, started out as a fishing village and then had the harbour quite extensively extended in the mid-1800s. But it's existed as a fishing village for a very long time, and particularly just a couple of kilometres north of here there's been some major archaeological findings of the Iron Age. So we're just walking down the hill now past some of these lovely old houses. A glimpse of the Baltic Sea as we go past this street. Now we're coming out into the church square. So Ehlinger Church is the parish church of Ehlinger Sandby on the Danish island of Bornholm. It stands at the centre of Allinge on a hill some 11 metres above sea level. Initially it was a small granite longhouse from around the 14th century, and then in 1892 it was completely rebuilt in the neo-Gothic style. So the earliest documented record of the church dates from 1869, when it was known as Ehlinger Kapel, or the Ehlinger Chapel. With the Reformation, it passed from the Archbishopric of Lund to the Danish crown, but it is now fully independent. Until 1941, it was an annex to St. Olskirke, and St. Olskirke is actually one of the round churches on Bornholm, and have actually done a film of that church, so check that out. So the late Gothic Longhouse, the oldest section of the structure, is built of rough granite fieldstone with brick-framed wall openings. The upper rounded arches of the old north and south doors have been almost completely removed by more recent windows, while the arched windows, which together with the north door, can be seen in a painting of the church from 1750. The tower, which is narrower than the Longhouse, dates from the 16th century. The west door is from 1865, when the upper part of the tower was rebuilt. In 1892, the church was comprehensively renovated by Matthias Bilstrup. The entire eastern part was torn down and replaced by 2 transepts, and at the far eastern end a chancel. Further interior restoration work, including repainting, was carried out in 1992. The roof is tiled in old oak, and the outer walls are lime washed over and painted yellow. So let's go in and have a look. So we're just in the porch of the church, which is also the tower of the church. You can see we've got some pretty steep steps going up to the tower. And just over to our right, if you look up to the right, there you can actually see a list of all of the priests or the vicars who have been at the church since the Reformation. So that's since 1557, it says up there. The other thing that's a bit sad, the list on the very far left-hand side is actually a list of plague victims, of people who died in the plague in the different parishes on Bornholm. Thousands of people. And for an island that only has a population of 39,000, that's a pretty major loss of life. We have a standing stone here on the right-hand side as well. Go into the main part of the church. So it's simply a lovely Lutheran church with some artefacts obviously left over from the pre-Reformation period when the church was consecrated Catholic. The altarpiece, of which only the base remains, is from 1625. It has now been relocated at the far end of the chancel. The granite font is from 1890, and the Renaissance pulpit from 1650 is decorated with 10 carved panels. 4 of which contain statues of the evangelists. The western gallery is new, replacing an earlier structure, and the Frobenius organ, now in the north transept, dates from 1962. And actually over there on the right hand side, I'll just go very closely up to it, is a Bornholm clock. And this little piece of masterpiece has actually been built on Bornholm. And the way that, here we go, here's the panels over here from the altar, anno 1745. But these clocks were actually built by a pair of brothers who learnt how to make these clocks from some shipwrecked sailors. It's a really interesting history, so I'm going to make another film specifically focusing on the Bornholm clocks one day. So now we'll just leave the church and we'll head out and down towards the harbour. I just want to see if there's any information about these gravestones. 2 gravestones set up in the tower room. The oldest is for Blasius van Wickenden, Lillebeck captain at Hammershus from 1543 until his death in 1547. The stone was made in Lobbeck. The material is grey limestone. In the middle of the stone is a helmeted coat of arms with an eagle above a chevron, which is a heraldic figure. Along the edge is an inscription in Low German which states that Van Wickenden, who was the son of Knight and Mayor Thomas Van Wickenden of Lübeck, died in 1547. Coats of arms are also found in the 6 quadrifoil medallions. The small gravestone, circa 1556, is for Arsat Albrecht Beuten, son of the captain at Hammershus from 1547 to 1556, Hermann Beuten. A curved German epitaph is followed by a time. The church was restored in the 1990s. The colours were chosen by ceramist Hjort Pedersen. So that's the explanation of the 2 gravestones, and they were actually sons of Lübeck merchants from Hammershus. So that was during the time when the castle was actually leased by the king to the Hanseatic League, because the Hanseatic League had actually helped him come to power. So that's the history behind those 2 gravestones. That's really interesting. And if we go right over to the building over here, this is actually the original school for the local residents, Borskole, and Bor means, citizens school. It's a fine old building. The local school now is actually up the coast from here. It's quite a large school because it's the feeder school for the northern part of the island, and it has an absolutely fantastic view of the sea. So it's a great place to go to school. The playground is right on the edge of the coast. So just winding our way down into town now. We'll come out into another lovely square where the old post office, which has been converted into a very good restaurant. So this is the sort of main square that we're coming up to when we get to the end of this street. Come out onto the street a little bit so you can see the side of the old post office. It's just here on the right. So here it is. It's a lovely old red brick building. And then the street continues on down to the harbour. It's just a big supermarket on that side, so we'll avoid that. Come out of this part of the harbour. Right, so this is the lovely Ehlinger Harbour. It's one of my favourite harbours on the island. It's a typical fishing harbour. You can see the high walls, very, very high walls, and they're basically built to protect the sea vessels from the weather, because in the winter it can get pretty hairy here. And over in the distance you can see the smokehouse. So we're just going to walk around the harbour and down along the coast for a little while. I was a little bit worried about how windy it would be, so I hope it's not going to be too bad, the wind noise on the camera. I've tried a few different techniques to try and manage the wind with some sound foam, but I haven't really had a lot of success with it. And I'm afraid that if I wait for a perfect day with no wind and plenty of light to film, I'll never get around to filming. So I think I just have to bite the bullet and film, and hope that the wind doesn't provide too uncomfortable a viewing experience. So we've got some lovely old buildings here, built of course from the wealth of the island in agriculture and trade. And just behind the little building here on the right hand side is the old storehouse where all the goods and produce was stored before it was shipped off to other parts of the world. Very quiet. We're in the middle of autumn now, so the tourist season is well and truly finished. And I'm just going to go up on the head here so we can have a look out over the Baltic Sea. And then I just want to go over and have a look at the old technical school, because it's actually a beautiful building, beautiful piece of architecture. So we can see right out along the coast here. I've sort of missed the path, so we'll go back a bit. Have the opportunity to see along the south side of the coast. Here we are, back on the path. So we'll just go up and have a look at this old technical school. And back down up to the smokehouse. So it used to be the library, this building. I just think it's such a lovely building. Wonderful detail in the ceramic up above. But now it's been converted into offices and modernised inside. So up here, straight in front of us, we have Ehlinger Smokehouse, where you can buy smoked fish, among other things. And they also have a restaurant which has an absolutely fantastic view out along the coast. So just going to walk around the base a bit, where they have actually put in this lovely boardwalk, and then we'll end the tour there. I have made another tour which goes from the town of Ehlinger along this pathway to the small town of Sandby. So don't forget to check that one out as well if you want to see a little bit further up the coast and come on a coastal walk with me. So that was a tour of the town of Allinge, from the small chapel in the graveyard into the church, along the harbour and out to the coast past the smokehouse. If you enjoyed the tour, please don't forget to comment, like and share. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. It goes a long way to the success of the channel. This is Bronwyn Lund from BronHolm Tours, signing off. Bye for now.